So, ang topic natin for today is about frequency distribution and graphs. So, according to American humorist Evan Esser, so statistics is the only science that enables different experts using the same figure to draw different conclusions. Okay, learning objectives. At the end of the chapter, learner is able to define some basic terms in formulation of frequency distribution, organize data into a frequency distribution, compute for the midpoints of each class on a frequency distribution table. So, yan yung mga topics na didiscuss natin for this chapter. So, magsisimula tayo sa defining some terms of using in frequency distribution table. Then, pagkatapos nun, mag-create na tayo ng frequency distribution table. It's either categorical or group frequency distribution. Then, we can compare and contrast raw data and frequency distribution. Construct a stem and leaf plot. Represent frequency distribution graphically using histogram, frequency, polygons, and cumulative frequency polygon. So, pagkatapos natin mag-create ng frequency distribution table, makakapag-graph na tayo. So, gamit sa stem and leaf plot, mas mapapadali natin yung pag-collect ng data natin. Then, pagkatapos makollect yung data, makakapag-create na tayo ng frequency distribution. So, yan. Ano pa ba? Draw the data using Pareto chart, bar chart, pie chart, time series graph, pictograph, and scatter plot. Give the importance of graphs in statistics, construct the different graphs and chart. So, may mga iba't ibang graph na gagamitin, but we will not elaborate it or yung ibang parts ng mga charts. So, kasi yung mga importante, yung mga nauna nang na graphs yung pwede na, yung ating i-discuss since napakadami nila. So, next. So, defining some terms. Frequency distribution are grouping of the data into categories showing number of observation in each of the non-overlapping classes. So, organization of data in a tabular form using mutually exclusive classes showing the number of observation. So, pag sinabing frequency distribution, dito natin tinatabulate yung ating sinamarize or binilang na or kinolect na data. So, gamit si frequency distribution, mas nakikita nating mabuti yung mga data or nalalatag natin mabuti using the frequency distribution table. Then, meron dito nabanggit na non-overlapping classes. Sa non-overlapping classes is sa frequency distribution, wala talaga non-overlapping classes or overlapping classes rather. Since kunwari, ang class limit natin for frequency distribution is 1 to 15. Then 16 to 30. Doon natin makikita na wala talagang overlapping classes. Bawal kasi maging 1 to 15, 15 to 30. So, nag-overlap yung dalawang data natin which is si 15 at saka si 15. So, bawal yun. So, dapat ang kasunod ay 16. So, 1 to 15, 16 to 30. So, yan. So, meron tayong mutually exclusive classes. So, bawal talagang magkaparehas yung ating class limits. So, nakadepende din yan sa interval na gagamitin kung gaano kahaba yung class limits natin. So, didiscuss natin yan mamaya. So, next tayo. Okay. So, raw data tayo. So, data collected in original form. So, nabanggit ko sa inyo dati yung about dito sa data. So, kapag sinabing raw data, it is data collected. So, kumbaga, na-collecta mo lang yung data. Then, kapag na-process na yung data or ginamit mo na for analyzing or interpreting data, so, it is called data. So, kung ikukumpara natin sa media information literacy, si data is the raw data. Since si data, yung nakikita lang natin sa internet, this is called data. So when it is analyzed and magiging na siyang analyze or interpret yung data, it is called information. Pero dito sa ating statistics, kapag sinabing data, it is the process data or yun yung na-analyze na natin. Next, range, the difference of highest value and lowest value in a distribution. So, yun nga, meron tayong given na data set in a frequency distribution. Then, hanapin natin doon yung highest value and lowest value. Then, pag-subtractin natin siya, makukuha na natin si range. Okay? So, next. So, ipapaliwanag natin yung mamaya. Meron yung formula na ginagamit for computing the range. So, next. So class limits or apparent limits. So the highest and lowest value describing a class. So nasabi ko na sa inyo yung kanina, yung about dun sa interval na si class limit is nakadepende kay interval. So si interval yung magsasabi kung gaano kahaba yung class limits natin. For example, there's an interval of 15. So 1 to 15. So it is called class limits. While on the categorical, meron kasi sa class, wala kasi tayong class limits sa categorical. So, naka-indicate lang kung, kunwari, high, average, and low. So, it is called class. Samantalang kapag group frequency distribution, meron tayong class limit. So, 1 to 15, and 16 to 30, and etc. So, si class limits is ginagamit lang kapag ang ating data is interval data. Basta may quantitative data, yung mga numbers. Samantalang pag categorical, it is nominal. Next, class boundaries or real limits. So the upper and lower values of our class for group frequency distributions whose value has additional decimal place more than the class limits and end with the digit 5. So kalimitan, yung class boundaries natin is kapag yung ating class limits is a whole number. So, ang ginagawa lang natin is, nagmaminus tayo ng 0.5 sa lower limit, then the upper class limits is plus 0.5. So, ganun yung sa class boundaries. Then, kapag meron naman siyang point, nakadepende sa decimal places yung ating pagmaminus ng 0.5. Basta, yung dulo niya is 5. So, kunwari, 2 decimal places, magmaminus tayo ng minus 0.05. So, mag-a-adjust lagi yung decimal places niya. Depende sa given na class limits. Pero kalimitan kasi ang class limits na ginagamit natin ay whole number since our interval is round off in nearest whole number. Okay? So, next. Interval or width. So, meron siyang symbol na I na ginagamit. So, it is the distance between the class lower boundaries and the class upper boundaries is denoted by the symbol I. So, maaari natin makuha or masukat yung interval ng isang class limit kung alam natin yung class boundaries. So, it is the class boundaries. So, meron tayong lower boundaries and the upper boundaries. So, pag maminasin mo lang yung upper boundaries sa lower boundaries para makuha mo si interval. Or, it is the number of or yung bilang ng ating class limits. For example, 1 to 15. So, 1 to 15 yung ating class limit. So, ang kanyang interval ay 15. Based on pag binilang natin from 1 to 15, it is 15 ang interval natin. Or, meron tayong sinusunod kasi minsan na computation in order to get the interval. So, ibig sabihin, without the interval, we can get the class limits. So, ipapaliwanag natin yan mamaya yung mga formula na ginagamit para dyan. Next, frequency. It is the number of values in a specific class of a frequency distribution. So, gumagamit tayo ng letter F or symbol F for denoting frequency. So, ibig sabihin yan, pag sinabing frequency, for example, meron tayong class limits from 1 to 15, 16 to 30, 31 to 45, 46 to 60. Dun sa unang class limit which is 1 to 15, meron tayong frequency or bilang na under ni 1 to 15. So for example, ay 10. So meron tayong iba't ibang frequency sa bawat class limits. Okay? So next, relative frequency. It is the value obtained when the frequency in each class of the frequency distribution is divided by the total number of values. So, si relative frequency naman is nag-derive sa ating frequency. So, ang gagamitin natin dito ay frequency. So, ang gagawin lang natin is, kailangan lang nating alamin yung bawat frequency ng class limits. Then, ito-total natin yung frequency ng ating class limits. Frequency yung bilang ng ating per class limits. Pagpaplasin natin yun, then pag nakuha na natin yung total nun, siya yung total number of values or ito yung tinatawag na N. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, si frequency, i-divide mo sa total number of values which is N para makuha mo yung relative frequency. So, ibig sabihin, kalimitan na lalabas dito ay hindi pala kalimitan, madalas. Or, ang makukuha natin dito ay decimal. So, lagi may decimal places na lalabas. Okay? So, next. Percentage, obtained by multiplying the relative frequency by 100%. So, yan. Pag nakuha natin si relative frequency, ita-times na lang natin siya sa 100%. So, si percentage, ginagamit lang talaga siya sa statistics. Sa business math, ang ginagamit is, sa halip na percentage yung na term ng ginagamit, it is percent. Hindi ko lang kung bakit ganun. Or dahil nga magkaiba sila ng subject, there will be some instances na magbabago yung term na ginagamit. So, depende sa gamit. So, sa percentage, pwede din gawin natin is, i-divide natin yung frequency sa total number of values. Pagka-divide natin, saka natin siya itimes sa 100. Kung walang given na relative frequency. Okay? So, pwede yan. So, next, cumulative frequency. It is the sum of the frequency accumulated up to the upper boundaries of class in the frequency distribution. So, para makuha naman natin si cumulative frequency, ang gagawin natin, magbe-base tayo sa frequency. So, maybe, for example, mayroon na tayong given na frequency na kuha na natin si class limits, nabilang na natin yung frequency sa bawat class limits. So, makakuha na tayo ng cumulative frequency. So, yun ay, ang gagawin natin from the first frequency, which is, kunwari ay 10. So, yun yung unang CF or cumulative frequency. Next, ipa-plus mo yung unang frequency sa sunod. So, kunwari, 10 tsaka 15. 15. So, 10 plus 15 is 15. So, 10, 15 na yung ating cumulative frequency. Hanggang maabot natin yung dulo. So, yung dulo ng cumulative frequency is the total number of frequency in the frequency distribution. Okay? So, para mas makita nyo mabuti yung cumulative frequency, ituturo natin yan sa mga susunod na topics. Okay, next. Midpoint or X. It is the point halfway between the class limit of each class and it is presented of the data within the class. So, pag sinabi namang midpoint, it is the middle of the class limits. Pag sinabing middle, ang gagawin natin doon is yung gitna ng class limits. Okay, tinagalog ko lang. So, ang gagawin mo para makuha mo yung midpoint, it is pagpaplasin mo yung lower limit and the upper class limit and divided by 2. So, para makuha mo yung pinakagitna ng ating class limit. It is called midpoint. So, ibig sabihin, every class limits, there will be a midpoint. So, yan. So, next. Okay, frequency distribution. A frequency distribution is a table that shows classes or intervals of data with a count of the number in each class. So, the frequency f of a class is the number of data points in the class. So, napaliwanag na natin yung kanina, si frequency distribution. So, ito nga, it is a table. Doon nakalagay yung mga class limits or class, frequency, percentage, relative frequency, cumulative frequency, class boundaries, midpoints, and etc. So, given na dito yung, for example, dito lang sa ating table, meron tayong class limits and the frequency. Yung interval, sabi ko sa inyo kanina, it is the total number or yung bilang ng ating class limits. So, from 1 to 4. So, bilangin natin 1, 2, 3, 4. So, ibig sabihin ng ating interval ay 4. Next, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, 4. 9, 10, 11, 12. So, 4 pa rin. So, hanggang makabot tayo sa dulo. So, meron tayong given na frequency for each class limits. So, para ma-check din natin kung tama talaga yung interval natin, so, ginagawa natin is yung lower limit ng sunod na yung sunod sa sa unang class limit, yung lower limit is pagmamainasin natin. So, 5 minus 1 is 4. Or doon sa kabila, sa upper class limit, 8 minus 4 is 4. 9 minus 5 is 4. 12 minus 8 is 4. 13 minus 9 is 4. 16 minus 12 is 4. 17 minus 13 is 4. 20 minus 16 is 4. So, ibig sabihin, our class limit is correct. So, dapat kasi consistent na 4 ang yung interval na gagamitin natin. Okay? So, next. So, sa class limits, binubuo to ng dalawa. So, lower class limit, yung nasa unang number, and the other one is the upper class limits, yung pangalawa, or yung sa dulo. Then, yung line sa gitna, it is, pwede natin siyang i-translate into 2. Ibig sabihin, from 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and etc. Then, yun nga, nakalagay dito yung frequency natin. So, yan. So, yan. So, constructing frequency distribution. So, a group frequency distribution is used when the range of the data set is large. So, the data must be grouped into classes, whether it is categorical or interval data. For interval data, the classes are more than 1 unit in width. So, the procedure of constructing the frequency distribution is discussed in the succeeding section. So pag sinabing group frequency distribution, ginagamit lang siya kapag ang ating data ay malalaki or marami. So ibig sabihin, yan, gagamitin mo lang siya doon. Then, yun nga, ginugroup as yung classes into categorical or interval data. Kapag categorical, yung data natin is nominal data. Okay? While the other one is interval data. So, ginagamit natin sa group frequency distribution din ang tawag. So, the classes are more than 1 unit in width. So, pag interval data, meron tayong class limits. While categorical, meron lang tayong class. So, ibig sabihin, kung ano lang yung nakalagay dyan, kunwari, high, average, and low. It is called class. Then, lalagyan mo na siya ng frequency. Kung ilang bilang ng high, ilan yung bilang ng average, ilan yung bilang ng low. So, yan. So next, categorical frequency distribution. So the categorical frequency distribution is used to organize nominal level of ordinal type of data. So some example where can we apply this distribution are gender, business type, political affiliation, and others. So yan, yung mga pinagagamitan. So nasabi ko sa inyo about yung categorical, lahat ng data niya is nominal. Okay, next. So example, so 20 applicants were given a performance evaluation appraisal. So the data set is given below. So yan. So construct a frequency distribution for the data given. So yan. So magkikreate naman tayo ng frequency distribution based on dun sa given nating categorical or nominal level of ordinal type of data. Okay? So yan. So, gagawa na tayo ng frequency distribution. Pero, merong mga bagay dun sa group frequency distribution na we can apply on categorical. So, in constructing categorical frequency distribution, meron tayong class, tally, frequency, relative frequency, and percentage. So, yun lang yung kaya nating i-apply dito. Since our data is nominal data or categorical. So, yeah. So, yung unang ginagawa natin is nagtatali tayo pag nilagay na natin yung classes natin. So, pwede natin siyang i-arrange from highest to lowest. Kung ito ay about sa ranking or lowest to highest, highest to lowest yung sinabi ko or vice versa. So, nakadepende po sa given. Pero kapag wala talaga siyang ranking, so, we can choose the lowest to highest. So, kung anong nakalagay doon, yun na yan. Okay? So, kahit magkabaliktad-baliktad siya ng pwesto, okay lang. Basta, natali mo siya, nalagyan mo na siya frequency, or natapos mo na yung table niya. Okay? So, balikan natin yung table or yung dataset natin. So, bibilangin natin yung every data natin. So, meron tayo tatlong data, high, average, and low. So, bilangin natin yung high. So, ang high ay, ilan ang high natin dun sa kanina? Kung bibilangin natin. So, ang high natin is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So, meron tayong 7 na high. Okay. So, nilagay na natin sa table yung tally natin, which is 7. Next, average. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, binilang ko ulit. 8. So, meron tayong 8 na average. So, tally natin. So, next, the low is, bilangin uli natin or bilangin natin. Okay, sa low naman is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, meron tayong 5 na tally for low. So, ilagay natin sa table or sa frequency distribution table natin lalagay. So, nakalagay na. Then, i-translate natin si tally to frequency. So, equivalent ng tally ng una is 7, the other one is 8, and the sunod is 5. So, nalagay na natin yung total niya. So, ang total niya is 7 plus 8 is 15 plus 5 is 20. So, yung total ng ating frequency is 20 or gawin natin n equals 20. Since yung ginagamit natin for total number of values is n or total number of observation ay n. So, ilalagay naman sunod natin is relative frequency. So, relative frequency yung lalagay natin sunod. So, paano computein ulit nga si relative frequency? So, sa pag-compute ng relative frequency, so, ang ating formula is RF is equals to F over N or frequency over total number of values. Okay? So, compute natin dito sa word natin yung para maipakita natin kung paano siya sinosolve. Okay? Okay, so sinulat ko lang yung ating formula. So relative frequency or RF, so nilagay ko dito yung formula, RF is equals to F over N is equals to yung una natin, 7 divided by 20. So i-divide natin yung una nating frequency, then i-divide natin siya sa total number of values. So 7 divided by 20 is equals to 0.35. So pag kinabit natin sa calculator, ang sagot dyan ay 0.35. So next, RF is equals to 8 divided by 20. So pag dinivide natin si 8 sa 20, anong sagot? So ang sagot dun ay 0.4 or 0.40. So sakto. Next, RF is equals to 5 divided by 20. It is equals to 0.25. So sakto pa din. So nakuha na natin yung lahat ng RF for the frequency distribution. So balik tayo dun sa table natin kanina or frequency distribution table natin. Okay? So nilalagay na natin. So nalagay na natin pala rather. So ang total ng relative frequency natin is 1. But it is optional kung ilalagay natin siya or hindi. So pwedeng hindi naman. Pag pinag-plus-plus mo yan, it is 1. Pero depende po kasi sa given na relative frequency. Kung relative frequency natin is maraming decimal places, ang kalimitan lalabas dyan ay may 0.999 kunwari. So, minsan hindi sakto. So, pero pag ni-round off naman natin siya, ang sagot dun ay 1. So, 0.99 pag ni-round off natin, magiging 9. 1 pala rather. So, yan. So, next natin ko-compute is percentage. So, since yung ating given na yung percentage natin, yung relative frequency natin rather, is itatimes na lang natin siya sa 100. Or, ang gawin natin, yung frequency over n, itatimes natin sa 100 based on dun sa sinabi ko sa inyo kanina. So, pagka-times mo sa 100, lalagyan mo lang siya ng percent sign. Okay? So, yan. Okay, simulan natin dun sa 0.35. So, 0.35 times 100 is equals to 35%. Okay? So, yun yung sagot natin dyan. Or, di ba, F divided by N is yan, times 100. Yung frequency natin, yung una is 7 divided by 20. Ang sagot ay 0.35 times 100% is 35%. So, yung sunod is 40% and the other one is 25%. Or mag-move ka lang ng 2 decimal places papuntang right. So, para makuha mo yung percentage. So, ganun lang yung pag-convert nun. Okay, so natapos na natin yung computation. So, pwede na tayong tumungo dun sa ating table para matapos na natin. Okay, so sinummarize na natin dito sa ating table yung ating sinolve kanina. So, meron tayo dito sa una, 35%, the other one is 40%, The other one is 25%. So pag pinag-plus-plus natin yan, it is 100%. So yan. So natapos na natin yung categorical data. So tumungo naman tayo sa group frequency distribution, which is ang given natin is interval data. Okay?